Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Joe.
And I am also Joe.
Thanks for tuning in to the SNES's Life channel as always. This video is going to be a little different from our normal videos. Instead of streaming, at the request of a couple of viewers who necessarily can't catch our streams when we're doing them and don't want to try to hunt around for our actual review of the game, which may be 2 or 3 streams in, we're going to come back every 5 games, at least for a couple times, to see how this goes. And we're going to recap the game. So if you can't tune in and you want to get the reviews, you can get them this way. This is going to be a video that we're going to upload, obviously. It's not live streamed. So let's start. The first 5 games for the launch titles for the Super Nintendo. We got Super Mario World. Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers 4. What do you think of the graphics, the sound, the gameplay?
I really liked the gameplay. The sound was really good. It has some very memorable tunes. And the graphics were, in my opinion, pretty good for being a launch title for the game.
Agreed. So I also thought the graphics were excellent. They aged pretty well, I thought. I mean, even by today's standards, the game still looks nice and crisp and clean. The sound was good. It has some of the more memorable, like, Super Mario soundtracks. It's got Yoshi, which is a pretty big deal. The gameplay was still smooth. The controller worked out well. Like, there weren't any real lag issues or anything in that game. So, Super Mario World was an excellent game. I gave it a thumbs up.
I also gave it a thumbs up.
Now, a thumbs up means that we would recommend you try and play this game, whether you find a way to play it through an old system or an emulator or what have you. We think it's worth doing. So, our next game was Gradius III. Whoop. Yep, there it goes. Gradius III is a shmup, side-scrolling. It is 2-player mode, but it's not 2 players at the same time. 1 player each. This was a surprise hit for us. We went into it not thinking much of what Gradius III looked like through the instruction manuals and the box art and the previews that we were able to catch from it. But in the gameplay, very, very enjoyable game. The graphics are good. They're not amazing, but, I mean, what did you expect?
Right.
And shmups generally are pretty simple anyway. The sound was good. Memorable noise, good music. The gameplay was mostly smooth. It did have some lag issues when you had a lot of things on the screen.
And then the sand worm thing
The big
first level.
Yeah, the boss worms and dragons tended to slow the game down a little. But the plethora of options for weapons and everything that you could select was really impressive. You agree with most of those points, I assume.
Yeah.
So this one also received a thumbs up from me.
And it received a thumbs up from me as well.
Yeah, so a hot dog for Gradius 3. And then we're going to go on to FZero. Now, why don't you go ahead and take FZero?
Do you want me to explain what FZero is?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can explain what it is. I suppose we should.
FZero was, like all of these, it's a launch title. It was basically a racing game. And mind it was a very difficult racing game, because as soon as you hit one of those edges, you go flying across the racetrack. And it was very difficult. After getting used to the controls, it got a bit easier. Graphics-wise, I personally liked the graphics other than the sides of the racetrack, which definitely could have used some work. I did like the music. That was okay. And gameplay-wise, like I said, it was really difficult. Not my cup of tea, but I think I gave it a thumbs up.
You did. So, my thoughts on F-Zero, I think the graphics, the main graphics, the track and the cars held up fairly okay. The sides and the backgrounds were pretty seizure-inducing to me.
I think the backgrounds were okay, but the sides were not.
Yeah, the sides were bad. And I don't know why they went for that, but whatever. The controls were very touchy. And they were probably very touchy back in the day, not just touchy now.
Right.
So the gameplay was very difficult. And we were playing it on easy mode. And it's just a hard game. Particularly because it's not like you just have to finish in the top 3. You have to finish at a certain placement in each lap to continue on to the next area. So I actually gave F-Zero a thumbs down. Did not think it held up well enough to justify playing again. Next, we have SimCity. Now, SimCity is not one of the more exciting games that we've played. In fact, currently where we're at, I'd say the only thing less exciting. This was probably Chess Master. However, the graphics were okay. The sound was not amazing. The gameplay was all right. It's a simulation city building game, so it's not like there's a lot of action or attraction there. But it was something that I enjoy just because I enjoy that type of game. So, it's just up to personal preference, I guess.
And seeing how with SimCity, he was the one playing it the entire time, it was, I don't know, very relaxing to just sit back and, listen to the calming music and just watch a nice, relaxed game. And I personally don't like simulation games, so I didn't really want to play it, but I gave it a thumbs up because I think it is a good game, especially if you like that type of game.
Yeah, and I gave it a thumbs up, which wasn't a real shock. Our final game for that first 5 was Pilotwings. Now, Pilotwings I grew up with a big affinity for. I really liked Pilotwings. It's another simulation type of game, but this time it's a flight simulator, so you're flying airplanes and rocket belts and you're skydiving and all this other stuff. Now, the graphics aren't amazing, but they're okay. And for the time, they were probably really, really good.
Right.
But the gameplay was good. The sounds were good. The music was okay. It can be kind of a boring game if all you're doing is flight simulating. And
Right.
I think the most exciting part for me was when you beat the game, there was a second game which unlocked expert mode. It changed most of the color schemes, made the game way more difficult. But there were 2 boss levels essentially where you stopped doing the basic stuff like hang glider, skydive, light plane, and rocket belt, and you got to fly an Apache attack helicopter.
And you get to fly around and you have to rescue the instructors.
Yes,
You get to blow up the turrets.
so that bonus boss level was really super cool, and then the fact that it basically just redoes the game, but changes a lot to it. So the graphics were good, sound was good, gameplay was solid, and I recommend it a thumbs up.
I also recommend it a thumbs up.
So there you go, guys. That's our 5-game recap. We'll come back after the next 5 games and do another one of these. So let us know if this is good for you guys, if you like the way that we're going to do this, and that way we know whether we should continue doing it in the future. Thank you very much, and don't forget to check out the website, join us on our social medias, and watch the stream. Thanks a lot.